Hey Sarah, Joe Aguilar, PCG Consulting, hoping you guys had a great Christmas. I saw your report, so I imagine you're at work today. Hopefully you guys can close out the year strong and close it out good and have a good and safe new year. Hopefully Christmas was good and you ate a bunch of good food. I know I did. We went to my mom's and I made a special dressing for Christmas, and we had ham and all the trimmings and stuff, so we ate pretty good. Of course, all the pies and whipped cream and everything. We kind of took it out. But hey, I got your report. It looks good. Just wanted to, was just checking here. I've got 54, 51, 56. So I'm feeling pretty good about the department. If I see this total lead count, again on your cover, I see you doing your cover sheet, but here, I see this 18%, and I appreciate it. I'm sure you're doing that for Bill because he's wanting to see sold to shoals, or somebody's wanting to see that. And that's phenomenal. Sold to shoals, we like that. But the question is, you're spending money. It's kind of like advertising. I spend money to drive people to the dealership where they can buy a bread box or they can buy the store, right? And I just want my percentage of share of that for the money I exchange on that advertising or event to drive them there. Leads are kind of the same thing. That leads are another network. They're digital environment where you're drawing the people in. What's my presence look like, my website, the forms, how easy are they to fill out, and where's my ranking, and all that ball of wax. How am I pushing out a message that's drawing people in? So this number to me will leave you in the dark as far as your real return, because that number of sold versus total number of leads is a little different, right? 37 to 356, and then calls 95. So see, I got 451, so I'm a little short there. And then I got to really add these other numbers, because your totals here are total. This is a breakout. So it kind of tells you your return on your investment and how good I processed them. So just word to the wise, nothing bad. Just want to tell you, I really like that the girls are progressing. You don't really see too much in red, except for Vicky on her shows and here on calls. Those two. One of the things that we get involved with, and I think I did the training with you guys because I do it in a couple other languages as well. The 4 areas that are the big issue. Best price. I got to have a number for my trade. Am I approved with the credit app online? And then, of course, what's my payments? And then well, man, that's too high. What's the rate you're using? And you pretty much have gotten into the negotiation step of the process. Rather set the floor up to be able to do that part. Of course, we don't want to not help people with information, but we have to remember more times than not, people have already gotten everything they could possibly look for, whether they know what they're looking at or not. You know what I mean? I could have an invoice price, a market price, an MSRP price. There's a lot of ways to look up information. The real savvy folks kind of know, and they're tactical against you guys. And other folks have been apprised by their credit union or bank of how to take you guys down, work best price, and then don't tell them about your trade till later, and then work that in. And they're geared against us already. So the idea is, how do I satisfy that guest at that moment, that millisecond on the phone, because this happens on the phone via text or email, about price, and then go for the appointment, or about trade, or about credit and approved payments and all that, or about my distance. I'm so far away, if you don't give me real numbers, I ain't coming, right? So these are all normal things, and I'm glad that we're at this stage where we're working on that skill set of that kind of deal. But we want to make sure we're on top of the game. And remember the 4 areas of training that we did while I was there. So I'm just picking off on the red, but if I look at 451, 10% to me should be 45 sold. Well, that's really the floor's game. So let's take a look at your game. So if I take 451 and I do my 60%, and by the way, your girls are doing a good job, do something for them. Y'all are above that 60 ratio. Hallelujah. So that means your other numbers ought to be up, right? So 162, so I'm just below there. How can I have a higher number here and this lower? You see what I mean? And it's just going to come down to ability, and it's not a bad thing. We could always say it was a bad portion of leads, or leads with a bad amount of leads or something. So here's where it starts to decline on you. Connections are high. Appointments are moderate or pretty much online, okay? But then my shows are off by a nice little chunk, another 13. And then you stop and think, what else could I sold out another 13 people in-house? The takedown on the floor. Now, the takedown on the floor could be high or low, doesn't matter. That's up to them. We just got to bring it. So your first 360s, you're pretty much online except for a little low on the show. So confirmation of appointments, let's make sure we're getting that process down. That's you, or delegate it to the desk, and you, a separate person called a manager, confirming those, right? Girlfriend's right at 60. 41, and she's lower than the other two, shows versus appointments. So are we lacking on confirmation of her because we trust her experience and that she's doing so well that she's doing it on her own? Or are we going back in there behind that? It's kind of like a demo. If everybody in the house makes it a high sense of urgency, then the customer's sentiment is, man, this test drive thing must be important. Same thing with confirmation of appointment. If a manager from the dealership called and it sounds like, hey, we are all aware you're coming, and we're so glad you're coming. Ask for us when you get in. If you can't find the person you're designated to, then ask for me, right? So it's just in the style of the customer experience we're laying out. And none of this is against the grain of what Bill Hood's all about. It's the same, all right? So good job. High five your girls. Let's just keep going. Obviously, there's a trend that's starting to show of all the people we're bringing in versus what the floor is killing. And they can say what they want to, but it ain't no different than advertisement on the traditional side and people walk in the door. Did they close it? Couldn't close it? So far tanked? Credit way too bad? Couldn't even get a condition that was even close? We work everything, right? So they can't complain about the department bringing them bad business or trash business. And I know sometimes that, is a tendency. So on your first 360s, which is really what you're responsible for, you're there. The only one that's hurting you is on your metrics is this A-meet deal. A-meet, for some reason, we're just not sure, why we're hurting in that area. You want the 360s here, but look, appointments versus, contacts. So are we working those people harder number-wise and not going after that appointment? Because it looks like when they're there, we're getting a good high percentage of show. And, these guys are closing 6%. The 460s is designed to produce a 12 to 13% minimum standard. 10% is usually your baseline. And we were there last month, so I'd hate to go backwards. And I'm sure you got plenty in the pot. You're doing a phenomenal job. Make sure you get you that other staff member. Looks like you kept Juliana, and that's fine. But you need to make sure you pick it up because you got 3 people at one store handling 451, and then you add on top of that another 6. So you got 500 calls and leads for 3 people. BDC is about 100, 120, so that'll put you at 360. You see what I mean? They might be stepping on themselves a little bit. I've seen time and time again anywhere in this country where we put the ratio of lead volume in an appropriate ratio, and we always see the closing ratios go up, or the appointments that arrived, which or visits go up. So anyway, sure appreciate that you were there. Allows me to talk and do what I do for a living on a normal basis. There's some stores, girl, that are a lot more broken than y'all are, and there's some other stores that are, they're Super Bowl guys, repeat Super Bowl stores, and I feel like you guys are on your way. Let's just make sure we don't forget what the objectivity is. Work the system, work the templates, and the process to sell the appointment. We don't sell the car over the phone. Everybody wants to, and the convenience of that is great, but that's just not reality in today's market, even though everybody offers it. We'll bring it to you. We'll bring you paperwork, get approved online, make it easy. We're offering the convenience of modern day society, but in reality, if you compare it to a restaurant, if I'm in the drive-thru and the line is long, but this is what I'm going to eat, what do? I wait, right? I don't get up there and order something off menu or crazy to the point that it's ridiculous, right? Same thing, I'm at the doctor's office, I wait, they call my name. I'm not going to say, hey, give me a minute, I'm going to finish this article because it's really good. We're going to get up and go back there because they got to have our data and information in order to help service appropriately, right? Same thing, we got to have verified data and information, just like their credit app, their credit needs to be verified. We got to verify their identity. What if we find another rebate we weren't using in our advertisement? Would you not want it if you were entitled to it? Okay, great. When you got 13 minutes, come by for us to do that. Morning or afternoon. Text, email, phone. That's all they got to be doing to rock the steel out. So anyway, love you. Appreciate y'all. Be blessed, and I'll see y'all next month. Bye.